So today he's going to talk on a topic called Vedas and Tantras. Okay, so please stay with us and hope you'll enjoy. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण. स्क्रीन ना किसी के स्क्रीन शेयरिंग. अच्छा जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी. जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी. जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारे. जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारे. यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन. यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन. यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन. यामुनतीर वनचारी. यामुनतीर वनचारी. जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी. जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी. जय राधा माधव राधा माधव राधे. जय राधा नील माधव राधा नील माधव राधे. जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय. जय सीताराम लक्ष्मण भक्त हनुमान. जय सीताराम लक्ष्मण भक्त हनुमान. जय जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Gurudev Srila Prabhupada ki jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari 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 Hare Krishna. Welcome, dear devotees, to this presentation on Veda and Tantra. And these two terms we might have heard from time to time in our lives. But today I'll be trying to explain something about Veda and Tantra. And Vedas and Tantras are both Marga. Marga means path. So basically, today's talk is on Veda Marg, which is the path of the Vedas, and Tantra Marg, which is the path of the Tantras. It's very important for all of us to understand what is Veda and what is Tantra. But before we begin, I'd like to offer Mangalacharan, auspicious invocations. Most of us know these verses. You can kindly sing along with me. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Soyam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruh Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitanscha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshaya Bhutale Shri Mate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabharasute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Srila Prabhupada ki jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari. So welcome once again, dear devotees, to this talk on Veda Marg and Tantra Marg. What are Vedas and what are Tantras? It's very It's a very interesting topic because almost all spirituality in the Indian culture is based on one literature, and that literature, dear devotees, all of us know what is the original literature that is present in the India, in all Indian forms of spirituality. And what is that? Veda. So Vedas are the root of all spirituality that is found currently in the Indian subcontinent. But originally, it is not limited only to the Indian subcontinent. Dear devotees, we will today try to see what are the Vedas and what are the Tantras. But before we begin, I'd like to begin by a quote by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada says something, dear devotees. He says, therefore, in the human society, there is educational system, and man has to be made a right rational animal. Although he is animal, he has to be educated in a nice way. That depends on education, a system of education. But in that connection, studying the whole world's education system, the Vedic education is perfect. Therefore, every man should be educated as they are instructed in the Vedic literature. It's very important to understand what are Vedas and what is the importance of those Vedas, because many of us have heard the term Vedas, but we may not be knowing the importance of the Vedas. But today we will try to understand what are the Vedas and what is the importance of the term Vedas. Dear devotees, first and foremost, let us understand what is the meaning of the term Veda. Can anybody tell me what is the meaning of the term Veda? With, to know. Wonderful. So, Prabhu said Veda comes from the term with, which means to know. So, the root term is, verbal root is, dhatu is with. And that is one explanation. Another explanation is, which is given by the previous grammarians, dear devotees, it is on the screen. Please look at it and repeat after me. Vedaha vindati dharmam anena. So vindati, one obtains, anena, through this literature, one obtains one very specific thing. And that specific thing is given in between. What does one obtain by the Vedas? Dharma. Now, what is dharma? Can anybody tell me what is the meaning of the term dharma? The right thing to do. That is kartavya. Isn't it? What is dharma? Hidden? That you can call swabhav, isn't it? What is dharma? It's very important to understand that the Vedas help you achieve one particular thing which is not achievable elsewhere. And that particular thing is known as what? Dharma. We will come to explanation of dharma later, but keep this in your mind. Through the Vedas, you can attain what? Dharma. Alright, this is what Veda is defined, how Veda is defined as. Another term for the Vedas, dear devotees, is Shruti. Some of us might have heard the term Shruti. So, this is the meaning of Shruti. Please repeat after me. Shruti Shruyate Dharma Anaya. Shruti is also a term for Vedas. Shruti means Shruyate, something is heard, anaya, through these literature. What is heard through this literature? Dharma. Again, we are coming to the same point, dharma. And the third term for the Vedas, dear devotees, this is a rare term for the Vedas. Please repeat. Amnaya So Amnaya is also a term used for the Vedas. So we have three terms here. What are the three terms for the Veda? First is Veda, second is Shruti, third is Amnaya. There are three terms for the Vedas. And what is the meaning of Amnaya? Please repeat after me. Amananti, Upadishyati, Dharma, Dharmau. So these literature, Upadishyati, they instruct you in Dharma and Adharma. All three explanations of Veda contain one essential factor. What is that essential factor? Dharma. And now what is Dharma? Somebody says duty, but there is a better term for duty. What is a better term for duty? Kartavya. Somebody says constitutional position or one's constitution. There is a better term for that, Swabhav. What is dharma? It is a term which cannot exactly be translated into the English language, dear devotees. It's very difficult to translate the term dharma in English language. In the Amar Kosh, which is one of the most prominent Sanskrit dictionaries, the term dharma is defined. Would you like to hear how dharma is defined, dear devotees? All right, here is how Amar Kosh, the most important Sanskrit dictionary, defines dharma. Please repeat after me. Dharmastu tadvidhi. What is dharma? Dharmastu tadvidhi. Whatever is given in the Vedas is dharma. You see how? What does Veda give? Dharma. And what is dharma? Whatever is given in the Vedas. So this, dear devotees, is how Amar Kosh defines dharma. Very important to understand that you cannot separate the two terms Veda and Dharma. They are attached to each other. Somebody says Dharma means duty. Alright? Now, for example, in the material world, somebody may tell us this is your duty. There may be a person who is working with a butcher. And the butcher may come to him and, he may come to his servant and the servant may ask, what should I do today? He may tell, your duty is to slaughter 10 animals today. So that is duty. But is it dharma? Please tell me. So there is a big difference between duty and dharma. Isn't it? So what we often tell as duty may not be dharma. It's very important that dharma is to be defined exclusively in connection with one literature. And which literature is that, dear devotees? Vedas. In fact, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is an incident of a person named Ajamil. Now, Ajamil is a person who has, throughout his life, he has committed dharma or adharma. Can anybody tell me? He has, majority of his life, he has committed adharma. And at the end of his life, when he is about to die, he sees some very horrific living entities. Whom does he see? Yamadutas. And the Yamadutas are about to take him away, but he sees his own son, and his own son is named Narayan. Ajamil calls out to his son Narayan affectionately. And because of that, suddenly he sees that there are Vishnu Dutas who come to rescue him. At that point of time, there is a debate between the Yamadutas who want to take Ajamil away and the Vishnu Dutas who want to rescue Ajamil. So the Vishnu Dutas ask Yamadutas, why are you taking him away? And they say, of course we are going to take him away. Throughout his life he has committed what? Bolo, bolo? Adharma. So then the Vishnu Dutas ask the Yamadutas, what is dharma and what is adharma? And dear devotees, would you like to hear the definition of what is dharma and what is adharma? This definition comes from the Yamadutas. Alright. Now, just because it has come from the Yamadutas doesn't mean that we will not accept it. The Yamadutas have been trained by none other than which personality? Yamaraj. So you have to understand that this definition originally comes from whom? Yamaraj. So let's hear the definition of dharma and adharma from Yamaraj himself through the agency of his Yamadutas. This is in the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Veda pranihito dharmo yadharmas tadviparyayah. What is dharma? The Yamadutas say in one line, Veda pranihito dharmo. That which is prescribed in the Vedas constitutes what? Dharma. And dear devotees, whatever is opposite of that is known as what? Adharma. Very simple definition. So henceforth we will remember. Somebody asks you, what is dharma? So what is the answer? Whatever is prescribed in the Vedas is dharma. That way we will not make a mistake. And what are Vedas? That which specify dharma. And what is dharma? That which is given in the Vedas. ऐसा गोल घुमाना है, समझ में है? So dear devotees, this is how dharmas and Vedas are defined. They are mutually dependent on each other and you cannot separate one from the two. In this world, there is no dharma independent of the Veda. And you cannot have Veda without dharma. Alright? For example, dear devotees, in this world, giving charity to a proper person, is it considered as dharma or adharma? Dharma. But the original principle of giving charity is found in one literature, and the proper person to receive charity is also defined in one literature. The proper time of giving charity is also defined in one literature. And which literature is that, dear devotees? Bhagavad Gita. The original literature is, which literature are we speaking about? Vedas. Isn't it? So it is the Veda which tells us how to give charity, when to give charity, and how much to give charity, dear devotees. So Vedas are the original source of all knowledge and all dharma in this particular world. Dear devotees, therefore there is a big difference between Vedas and other religious literature around the world. Many times people say that all religious literature are equal. Isn't it? How many of us believe all religious literature are equal? Raise your hands. All right. Nobody believes. Oh, wonderful. Some change of consciousness has happened recently, dear devotees. So, not all religious literature are created equal. And there is a reason for that. Dear devotees, in the Tattva Sandarbha, Sri Jiva Goswami, he explains the uniqueness which is present in Vedas and is not present in any other literature around the world. First and foremost, please raise your hands. How many of us are desirous? We want to understand the absolute truth. Please raise your hands. Oh, wonderful. All of us have some desire to understand the absolute truth. Now, please tell me, the absolute truth, the ultimate truth, is it a product of this material world or is it beyond this world? Beyond this world. So, dear devotees, the literature which explains the absolute truth should be a product of this world or should be beyond this world? Beyond this world. If you purchase a washing machine from Vietnam, the manual should come from where? Vietnam, obviously, isn't it? So, if you have to understand the personality who is beyond, or the absolute truth which is beyond this world, the literature for understanding that should also come from a non-material or what you call supramundane source. So, Sri Jiva Goswami says what is present in the Vedas, dear devotees. I will now explain what Sri Jiva Goswami says. Please repeat after me. Anadi Siddha Sarva Purusha Paramparasu. Dear devotees, there are two important factors present in the Vedas, which are not present in other literature, religious literature around the world. Please repeat the first factor, Anadi Siddha. Anadi means since beginningless time, and Siddha means since that beginningless time this literature, Vedic literature, has been present. Vedic literature was not written down at any particular point of time. The four Vedas were not written at any particular point of time. They exist since beginning of creation. I hope you are able to understand. If you look at other religious literature, they have an origin in time. Some religious literature may be written 2000 years ago, or 1500 years ago, or 800 years ago, or like this. Many religious literature are written like that. And often in those religious literature it is written that if you don't follow our religion, then you will end up going to hell and suffer forever. So one time a person, because I teach in a college, so there one student came to me because he knew that I study Vedic literature. So he came to me and he said, he was a Christian. So he said, "Sir, I want to ask you something." So I said, "Well, what do you want to ask?" He said, "If I convince you that Christianity is the true path, then will you convert to Christianity?" I said, "Oh yes, I will convert." But conversion is not a one-way street. If I convince you that Vedas are the true path, will you convert to Vedic religion, Sanatana Dharma? So he is little taken aback because he thought conversion is one-way street. But Indian tradition is that conversion is two-way street. So we believe in tark. Tark means logic. So you have to satisfy my logical questions. I asked him, anyways, even if you don't want to get converted right now, I will at least plant a seed of doubt in your mind. All right? Maybe in some future life it will fructify. So I asked him, see, the religious literature which you follow is called Bible. And the Bible was written approximately, you can say, 1800 years ago. It was put down in one form. And the first Bible that came to India was around 1600 AD. What about those people who could never get the message of the Bible? What will happen to them? Bolo? Will they? I just asked him plain question. Will they go to heaven or will they go to hell? So tell me, what will happen to them? Arey, bolo confidently, Bro, which Bible are you referring to? As per, that's what I'm asking, not as per you, na, Prabhu, as per, I'm asking you one question. So, it's very important to understand that according to literature which are written down at a certain point of time, then there will be a big logical issue that there are people who have never, what about people who were born before this literature was written? Of course. Sri Jiva Goswami here, why I am taking up this point is Sri Jiva Goswami is distinguishing between all other religious systems in the world and the Vedas. And he is doing it in Tattva Sandarbha. Because he is doing it, so I am explaining what he is telling. So his first quality of Veda is Anadi Siddha. It was present since beginningless time. There was no time at which the Vedas were written down. And there is second most important quality of Veda, dear devotees. Please repeat. Sarva Purusha Paramparasu. Sarva Purusha Paramparasu. In all human civilizations, this literature was originally present. I hope you are able to understand. In all human civilizations, this literature was originally present. Which literature was present, dear devotees? Vedas. So, those today who say that we are Christians, or those today who say we were Muslims, we have to ask them, 3000 years ago, your followers, your ancestors were followers of which religion? In any part of the world. And then you will come to know gradually that they were followers of which literature? Veda. The devotees, in Iran today, modern day Iran, 3 or 4,000 years ago, it was Persia, Persia, and the religion followed there was Zoroastrianism. Now, Zoroastrianism is basically worship of many deities, fire being the central one, and their main literature is Zend-Avesta, which has many hymns which are parallelly seen in the Rig Veda, dear devotees. In fact, there is a literature written which compares all the verses of the Zend-Avesta to the Rig Veda. And then I will show you many other many other forms of religiosity which is present before the devotees, Vedic, before the recent religions have arisen. For example, I would like to show you something, and I will point out one particular. Yeah. In Europe, especially in Romania, they have a deity, and this deity, dear devotees, they worship a particular deity. The Romanians, they still worship a deity which is pre-Christian deity. All right, and I will show you that deity, and you can, maybe somebody has a mic. Prabhu, you can read what. All right. They worship, in the Romanian Christians, they worship a deity known as Kali Sara, dear devotees. Yes, Prabhu. So, she is a dark colored deity, you can see here, all right, dear devotees, and you can see a clearer picture of her here. Usually, Christian deities are not dark in color, but there is one deity which is dark in color, dear devotees. This deity is pre-Christian deity. And what is the name of this deity, dear devotees? Kali Sara. And Prabhu, please read from here. Prabhu, please read from here what is highlighted here.
Saint Sarah.
Yeah, just a minute. Yeah.
Saint Sarah also shares her name with the Hindu goddess Kali, who is popular deity in northern India, from where the Romani people originate. The name Sarah itself is seen in the appellation of Durga as Kali in the framed text Durgashtapati. Despite her popular veneration amongst Romani Catholics, she is not considered a saint by the Roman Catholic Church.
So I hope you are able to understand. Dear devotees, originally everyone in the world had access to one literature. What literature was that? Vedas. All right. Let's come to discussing pre-Islamic Arabia. It's very important to understand what Saudi Arabia was before which particular form of religion? Islam. So, especially if you see that there are three daughters of, there were three original deities in Arabia, and these three deities, dear devotees, I am showing you here. Can you see the three deities? I will open the image in a new tab so that we are able to see. Alright, these are the three deities which were worshipped exactly at the place, alright, where today the Kaaba, the holiest shrine of Islam stands. These are the three Arabic deities, and you can see that these three are, Devis, feminine deities. One of them is carrying weapons, one of them is carrying grains for auspiciousness. I hope you are able to understand. There are striking similarities of deity worship, and it is common in which religion, dear devotees? Deity worship is found, is in one religion in the world today. Which religion is that, dear devotees? Sanatana Dharma, Vedas. So, dear devotees, I wanted to highlight once again what Sri Jiva Goswami says. There are two qualities of the Vedas. First is Anadi Siddha, and second is Sarva Purusha Paramparasu. Originally, the Vedas are present in all human civilizations. Temporarily, some other forms of religion come up, and they may cover Vedic knowledge, And then after some time, these forms of religion may again go down and Vedic knowledge may come up again. I hope you're able to understand. But therefore, Vedic religion is also known as which dharma? Sanatan. And what is the meaning of Sanatan, dear devotees? Eternal. There is no origin. And therefore, this is the specialty of Vedas. There is no human being who was born before the Vedas. And Sri Jiva Goswami says, Sarva Laukika Alaukika Jnana Nidanatvad. And Vedas are the original source of all worldly knowledge and all transcendental knowledge. For example, somebody may have a doubt. Today there are so many fields of knowledge, engineering, medicine. And how can we claim that the Vedas are the original source of all this knowledge? Can anybody tell me how we can understand that the Vedas are the original source of all knowledge in the material world and the spiritual world? Okay, it has fields for medicine, Ayurveda, wonderful. But so many new details have come up which you may not find in the Veda. So how do you justify that? So, very simple explanation. Dear devotees, all knowledge is dependent on knowledge of language. I hope you are able to understand. Unless you understand languages, can you understand any field of knowledge? No. Amongst all the languages in the world, which language is the most ancient language? And Sanskrit is the language of which literature? So therefore, in this way, the Vedas are the original source of all worldly and transcendental knowledge. The language used by all the disciplines in the world is originally coming from one literature. Which literature is that? Vedas. In the English language, dear devotees, we have some words and there are some words also in the Sanskrit language, and let's see if you can find some parallels. I will speak the English words, you speak the Sanskrit words. Alright, those of us who know. Brother, mother. Oh, there are so many. Now I will speak a more sophisticated word. Sharkara khanda. Sugar candy. I hope you are able to understand. Sharkara khanda. What is it known as today, dear devotees? Sugar candy. Are va? So the roots of all worldly and transcendental knowledge, dear devotees, is one literature. Which literature is that? Vedas. And these Vedas are present before human civilization. It was given to the first living entity in the universe. Who was the first living entity in the universe? Sri Brahma. And Sri Brahma, as soon as he was born, he was given access to one literature by Bhagavan himself. And which literature was that, dear devotees? Vedas. So this is the uniqueness of Vedas, which is not to be found in any other place in the world. I hope you are able to understand. In other religious systems of the world, you may find many good qualities. They may emphasize charity, they may emphasize kindness, they may emphasize many good qualities. I hope all of you agree with this. But the Mahabharata says one thing. Yad ihasti tadanyatra yan nehasti na tat kvachit. Whatever is found in the Mahabharata and the Vedas may be found partially in other religious systems in the world. But whatever is not found in the Mahabharata, you will not find anywhere else in the world. Dear devotees, this is the bold claim of Sri Vyasadeva in the Mahabharata. Whatever is there in other religious systems in the world, you can easily find in one literature. Which literature? Vedas or Mahabharata. And whatever is not in the Vedas or Mahabharata, you will not find in any other religious literature of the world. Bolo. This is the bold claim made by Sri Vyasadeva. And you can try to find any particular form of religiosity, piety, and then you will see that originally it is present in one literature. And what literature is that, dear devotees? Vedas. So when we have that honest acknowledgement, because an honest acknowledgement is needed, that there is one original source of dharma. I told you originally, Vedas are the original source of what? Dharma. And what is dharma, dear devotees? Whatever is given in the Vedas. That's it. Isn't it? That is dharma. So here is the translation, Prabhu. Can you kindly read what Sri Jiva Goswami says?
Due to being present in all human civilizations since beginningless time, and due to being the source of all worldly and transcendental knowledge, the non-material words of the Vedas are certainly authoritative.
Yes. The devotees, why is Veda authoritative? Because Veda is the only literature in the world which has not come from a material source. It has not come from a human source. The Vedas have originated from whom, dear devotees? Bolo? Bhagavan. Alright? Who is the origin of the Vedas? Bhagavan. So it is very important for us to understand this. Therefore, dear devotees, since the Vedas have arisen from Bhagavan, therefore, please repeat after me, Veda is Bhagavan. Please remember this thing. Since the Vedas have arisen from Bhagavan, Vedas are directly whom? Bhagavan. And who says this? We should not speak without giving praman. So I quoted that definition of dharma and adharma from the Yamadutas. Does anybody remember what the Yamadutas, what is dharma? Whatever is given in the Vedas. And whatever is opposite of that is known as what? Adharma. In that very same verse, the Yamadutas continue. Please repeat after me. Vedo Narayana Sakshat Swayambhuriti Sushruma. So Prabhu, kindly read what the Yamadutas have heard from Yamaraj.
The Vedas are directly the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, and are self-born. This we have heard from Yamaraja.
Wonderful. Dear devotees, what you are hearing here today is authorized by one personality. Which personality? Yamaraj. Chalo. At least we know now that what Yamaraj understands as dharma and adharma, today we know. That the Vedas are what gives dharma and opposite of that is adharma. And because the Vedas are the original literature which came from Bhagavan, therefore the Vedas are non-different from Bhagavan. Vedaha Narayanaha Sakshat. Dear devotees, Swayambhu Riti Shushruma. We have heard this from Swayambhu. We have heard this from Yamaraj, dear devotees. And therefore, dear devotees, the Vedas are the only pramana, the only yardstick that you can use to understand the Supreme Lord, the Absolute Truth. There is no other praman, there is no other yardstick that you can use to understand the Supreme Lord. This is specified by Sri Baladev Vidyabhushan in his Siddhant Darpan. I will read the verse, please repeat after me. Nirdosheshwara Vakyatva Vedah Pramanyam Ashnute. Nirdosha Ishwara Vakyatva. Does anybody know what is the meaning of Nirdosh? Without any fault, Ishwara Vakyatva, because these are the flawless words of Bhagavan. Therefore, Vedas are the only praman. Vedas are the only yardstick for understanding the Supreme Absolute Truth. You cannot use any other source of knowledge for understanding the Absolute Truth. Sometimes people say that we will depend on the scientists for understanding ultimately what is the truth. How many of us have come across this opinion? That ultimately the scientists will tell us what is the absolute truth. Have you heard this opinion? Scientists are not able to decide whether Pluto is a planet or not. Isn't it? A few decades ago, Pluto was not a planet. Today, suddenly, Pluto has become a planet. And after some time, they again removed Pluto from the list of planets. Dear devotees, absolute truth, knowledge of absolute truth, should it fluctuate like this or should it remain consistent? But consistent knowledge cannot be found from human sources. Because all human sources have 4 defects. And these 4 defects are originally given by the previous acharyas. Does anybody know what are the 4 defects? and see, defect. He forgot the fourth one. So, there are, all human sources have how many defects, dear devotees? 4. Now please hear, I am giving the original names and explanations of these 4 defects. Please hear carefully. Please repeat after me first. Brahma. Brahma means illusion. A person becomes illusioned. What is illusion? Illusion means you mistake one object for another object. That is known as Brahma. A classic example given by Vedanta school is that in a dark night you are walking on the street and suddenly you see a rope and you mistake the rope to be a what? Snake. Dear devotees, when you mistake the rope to be a snake, do you know that it is a rope at that point of time? No. So in Brahma, you don't even know what the reality is, but you mistake that reality for something else. This is the first defect known as Brahma. And Brahma is translated roughly in English as what? Illusion. Second defect, please repeat. Pramada. Pramada is making mistakes. So what is the difference between Brahma, illusion and Pramad, making mistakes? In making mistakes, you know what is the truth, but still you end up misrepresenting it because of inattention. What is the reason, dear devotees? Because of inattention. For example, many of us might have written our English exam, and in English exam you are supposed to write the correct spelling. And many of us might have known the correct spellings of many words. But because we are writing quickly in the exam, sometimes we might have ended up making a mistake. In the English language, there is a term there. T-H-E-I-R. Many a times you might have seen students know the correct spelling, but they end up writing T-H-I-E-R, or some of them write T-H-E-R-E, isn't it? Please tell me, these students, do they know the correct spelling or do they not know the correct spelling? They know. So it's not like Brahma where you don't know what the actual truth is. They know what the correct spelling is, but they still end up making a mistake. And this making a mistake is due to inattention. And this inattention is called pramad. What is it known as, dear devotees? Pramad. What we call making mistakes, it can also be called as inattention. Alright? Third, dear devotees, vipralipsa. Vipralipsa is when a person knows the correct thing and a person knows that he is making a mistake, but he still makes a mistake. Why? Because he wants to cheat. I hope you are able to understand. That is what is known as vipralipsa. Okay. For example, dear devotees, if there is a village and in that village suddenly a soldier from the opposing army comes to the village. And in the village, he is roaming around and he asks a villager, this river I want to cross by swimming. Is it deep or is it shallow? Can I cross it by swimming or not? So this old person, he knows he is an enemy. I hope you are able to understand. And the old person knows that you cannot cross the river by swimming. You will drown. But still he tells this enemy, yeah, you can cross it, no problem. I hope you are able to understand. Is this Brahma, illusion? Pramad, making mistakes? No. It is vipralipsa. Also translated in English as what? Cheating tendency. And fourth, dear devotees, please repeat, karana patava. Karana patava means, karana means instruments, the senses. And apatu means they are not expert. The senses have inexpertise. The senses cannot see what is very far away, what is very near to us. The senses are still defective. So even if you are not affected by illusion, inattention or cheating tendency, there is still this overarching defect which will always remain even if you are thoroughly honest. And what is that? Karana patav. That is imperfect senses. And any religious literature written using Brahma, illusion, pramad, making mistakes, vipralipsa, cheating tendency, and karana patav, imperfect senses, can it point to the absolute truth? Yes or no? No. So, a religious literature which points to the absolute truth should be free from all four defects. Therefore, Sri Baldev Vidyabhushan says, Prabhu, kindly read the translation.
Due to being flawless words of Bhagavan, the Vedas are the only pramana, yardstick, for understanding him.
Due to being flawless. Flawless means they are free from how many flaws? 4. Due to being free from 4 defects, the Vedas are the only praman for understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead or the Absolute Truth. Dear devotees, therefore, it's very important to understand that the Vedas originally arose from Bhagavan and therefore they are considered as non-different from Bhagavan. In the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, which is a Veda, it is specified how the Vedas came to be. Alright? Please repeat a few words after me. Asya mahato bhutasya nishvasitam etad. Asya mahato bhutasya nishvasitam. From the breathing of this original Supreme Personality of Godhead, in the beginning of creation, from his breathing, some literature came out. What literature? It is specified. Please repeat. Rigvedo, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharvangirasa, Itihasa, Puranam, Vidya, Upanishada, Shloka, Sutrani, Anuvyakyanani, Sarvani Nishvasitani. All of this came from the breathing of Bhagavan. Now all of you heard the names of the literature. Which is the first literature that came from the breathing? Rigved. Then Yajurved. Then Samaved. Then Atharvaved. Then Itihasa. All the histories from the previous creation. All the histories from the previous creation. Puranas, Bhagavatam, etc. Vidyas. All the important sciences such as Nyaya, Mimamsa, etc. Upanishads, Shlokas, all the verses, Sutrani, all the short sutras, grammar sutras, etc. Anuvyakyanani, the explanations of the sutras, Sarvani, all of this came from the breathing of Bhagavan. So Prabhu, can you kindly read this is a short translation of this particular paragraph.
The 4 Vedas, the Itihasas, Puranas, Upanishads, aphorisms, purports and so on have all emanated from the breath of infinite Supreme Controller.
Wonderful. So, how did Vedic literature come originally? It has come from, the Vedic literature specifies how the Vedic literature came. It came from the breathing of Bhagavan, originally at the beginning of creation. Dear devotees, when Bhagavan breathes out, what comes from his body? Does anybody know? All the universes. And along with all the universes, what comes out from his body? Vedas, Itihas, Puran, dear devotees. All the Shastra came from breathing of Bhagavan. It's very important to understand why the Vedas are non-different from Bhagavan. Because they came directly from the body of Bhagavan. In that way they are non-different from the Bhagavan. Therefore, dear devotees, it's very important for us to understand that Jai. Shri Radha Nila Madhav ki Jai. Shri Gaur Nitai ki Jai. Shri Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki Jai. So originally, the Vedas have one name, okay, that is called Veda. What is it known as? Veda. But gradually you will see there are many names given to the Vedic literature. For example, Taittiriya Upanishad, Aitareya Upanishad, Isha Upanishad, Katha Upanishad, Kathak Samhita. So these are names given to the Vedas, but actually Vedas should have one name. Why does the Veda get so many names? One of the objections is maybe some human has written it, therefore they have gotten so many names. Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan gives an answer to that. Please repeat after me. Kathakadi samakhyatu taducharana hetuka Names such as Katha Upanishad, Kathak Samhita, these names are given because of the sages who again speak the same knowledge which was given originally to Brahma. I hope you are able to understand. Originally the Vedas were given to which living entity? Shri Brahma. And Shri Brahma gave it in his parampara. And in that parampara, if there is a prominent rishi named Kathak, and when he wrote it down, therefore that Samhita, that aspect of the Veda become known as Kathak Samhita. I hope you are able to understand. But this does not mean that he is the author of that. He is merely the person who popularized that branch of the Veda. Alright, Prabhu, can you kindly read the translation of this?
Names such as Kataka Samhita, etc., have arisen due to the name of the speaker of the Veda.
Yes. So he is the person, not the originator. He is just the person who has spoken it again and popularized it. This also happened with Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is a Purana. And originally the Purans, we saw in the previous slide, came from where? Breathing of Bhagavan. So it came from breathing of Bhagavan originally, but then they were again popularized by Sri Vyasadeva. So today we say Srimad Bhagavatam is composed by whom? Vyasadeva. Which means Srimad Bhagavatam must have been composed at a certain point of time, isn't it? Yes or no? Yes. Was the Srimad Bhagavatam composed at a certain point of time? No. It originally came from the breathing of whom? Bhagavan. Sri Vyasadeva edited it little bit and added some histories, previous histories to it, and again popularized it. Therefore, today Sri Vyasadeva is known as the author of Srimad Bhagavatam. Acha. In the 13th century, there was a big, great Vaishnava in Maharashtra, India. His name was Vopadev. Vopadev wrote a commentary on the Srimad Bhagavatam and became so famous in India, some people started saying Vopadev has written Bhagavatam. Bolo. But originally, is the Bhagavatam written by Vopadev or Vyasadeva? Originally, it is written by Vyasadeva or Bhagavan? Bhagavan, dear devotees. So this is how we have to understand why certain literatures get the names of certain personalities. Dear devotees, however, there is a big issue with studying and understanding the Vedas. How many, now all of us understand the Vedas. Now please tell me how many of us have studied the Rig Veda? Hare? Yajurved? Samved? Atharved? No Ved. We know there are some mantras which are there in Rig Veda, but how astonishing, the original source of knowledge, and we have not studied a single one of it. Because we have Bhagavad Gita. Oh, wonderful. But why did we not study the original source of knowledge, Vedas? Very important to understand. There is a big reason behind it. Because the Vedas came from the original personality of Godhead and contain the highest philosophical truths about this world and the other world. Therefore, the Vedas are accessible only to a certain category of human beings who have that level of understanding. And Sri Vyasadeva specifies that the Vedas are actually inaccessible to most of the population. Not because you cannot read it. You can read it, but there is a problem in understanding it. Comprehension. You can go to a religious bookstore and ask them, give me Rig Veda. And they will not stop you. You say, pay 200 rupees, here is Rig Veda. And you can bring home Rig Veda. And once you open, Agnimire Purohitam, first, I offer obeisances to Agni, the Purohit of the Devatas. Arey, what is going on? Who will explain? There is nobody to explain, dear devotees. Therefore, Sri Vyasadeva says in the Srimad Bhagavatam, please repeat after me. Stri Shudra Dvija Bandhuna Traina Shruti Gochara. Dear devotees, 99.9% of the population cannot have access to the Vedas. Trai means the threefold knowledge: Rig Ved, Sam Ved, Yajur Ved. And Atharva Ved is simply the supplement. So all four Vedas. Na Shruti Gochara. Shruti means ears. Gochara means cannot understand by hearing. Please read the translation, Prabhu.
The Vedas are inaccessible to the ears of the ladies, Shudras, and fallen, twice born.
This is Srimad Bhagavatam. Bolo. When he says inaccessible, does he mean that you cannot go and purchase Rig Veda? What does he mean? Can you purchase a copy of Rig Veda? Yes or no? Yes. But therein begins the problem. After you purchase it, begins the problem. What is the problem, dear devotees? Cannot understand. Dear devotees, previously to understand the Vedas, what was the age at which people would begin understanding the Vedas? Anybody knows what age? At the age of going to the Gurukul, at around 5 years of age, a person would be first initiated into the Vedas by the Guru. Bhagavan Ram, he went to the Gurukul of Vasishtha Muni. At what age did Bhagavan Ram go to the Gurukul of Vasishtha Muni? Around that age. And how many years does one have to study the Vedas? Our minimum is required is 12 to 15 years. Under the tutelage of a Guru, who can explain the secrets behind the Vedas. And you know what is the first thing that the Guru teaches before teaching the Vedas? The Guru teaches Vyakaran. What is Vyakaran, dear devotees? Grammar. Because first you have to understand the language of the Vedas. And it is said, Dvadasha Varsham Shruyate Vyakaranam. To perfect, 12 years is required to perfect Vyakaran. To understand, you may understand in 3-4 years, but if you want to become a perfect composer or something like that, how many years does it need? 12. Simply Vyakaranam. Dvatasha Varsham Shruyate Vyakaranam. So dear devotees, is it possible for a person to purchase Rig Veda for 200 rupees and understand from the bookstore? It is impossible. Therefore, 99% of the population will remain devoid of what? Which literature? Vedas. Even if they purchase it from a bookstore. Then how can 99.9% of the population derive benefit? It's very important to understand. Should benefit come to 0.1% of the population or should it come to 100% of the population? 100%. But you have a literature which is so deep and esoteric, it cannot be understood by 99.9% of the population. Many times people say, oh, there are some people who were restricted from studying the Vedas. Today there is no restriction. Isn't it? You can go to a bookstore, any person from any family can go to a bookstore and purchase Rig Veda. So government has opened up everything, it's a secular world today. So how many Pandits of Vedas happened after, everything was opened up? Because, dear devotees, even if you open up the entire market and allow Vedic access to everybody, the fact is going to remain. Dear devotees, what Sri Vyasadeva says is going to remain. The earlier we accept the truth, the better it is for us. Therefore, dear devotees, there should be another way to make progress, spiritual progress for the entirety of humanity. Herein comes the second path. What is it known as, dear devotees? Tantra Marg. Veda Marg, or the path of the Vedas, is inaccessible to 99.9% of humanity. Therefore comes Tantra Marg. Now when we hear Tantra, many of us have a negative impression of this term. Tantra, we think that people who ritualistically eat meat and drink wine and, they roam with skeletons around their head. These people are are followers of Tantra. Because this is the common impression of Tantra that is present in the modern world. But today let us understand what is Tantra. Dear devotees, after the entire creation, another personality began to give out literatures for the benefit of the entire humanity. Bhagavan Vishnu gave Vedas, and majority of the tantras came from one personality. Bhagavan Shiva gave out literatures which could be accessible to the entirety of humanities. And this literature was known as which literature? Tantra. What is the meaning of Tantra? The term Tantra comes from the verbal root. Tan means vistare. That literature which expands upon the knowledge of all aspects of life is known as what? Tantra. Another name for Tantra, please repeat, Agama. Agama is another name for Tantra. And Agama means, please repeat, Agachanti, Buddhimarohanti, Yasmad, Abhyudaya, Nishreyasopaya. So, Agachanti, the means of deliverance from material world, the means of transcending the material world, come to a person through these literature. Therefore, these literature are known as Agama. So, dear devotees, another term for Tantra is what? Agama. So, Tantras and Agamas are second category of literature, parallel literature, which are friendly to the Vedas. But there is one difference between Tantras and Vedas. Vedas are inaccessible to 99% of the population. Tantras are accessible to 100% of the population. Another difference. Vedas teach us whom to worship. Alright? Tantras teach us how to worship. Big difference. In the Vedas it may be given, you have to worship the Supreme Lord. Tantras will tell you how to worship. First, take a lamp. I hope you are able to understand. How many times do you have to show the lamp? Bolo. Does anybody know the number? 7. Pancharatra. Pancharatra is another name for which mark, dear devotees? Tantra. Pancharatra belongs to which category? Veda or Tantra? Tantra. Yeah. So, this is Tantra. Dear devotees, even the Brahmanas, because the Brahmanas, those who are born as Brahmanas, they are traditionally considered as eligible for the Vedas. But in this age of Kali Yuga, even those who are born as Brahmanas have become ineligible for the Vedas. This is specified in the Hari Bhakti Vilas, because somebody may think Brahmanas have an advantage by birth. Even that advantage is removed in Kali Yuga. This is Hari Bhakti Vilas, 5th chapter, 5th verse. Please repeat after me. Ashuddha Shudra Kalpahi Brahmana Kali Sambhava Tesham Agama Margena Shuddhirna Shrauta Vartmana. Ashuddha. What is the meaning of Ashuddha, dear devotees? Impure. The Brahmanas of this age of Kali are mostly Ashuddha. Shudra Kalpa. They can be compared to one category. Which category? Brahmana Kali Sambhava. In Kali Yuga, this is the nature of most Brahmanas. And Shuddhir, they also expect something. They should also undergo something. What should they undergo? Shuddhi. But how will they undergo Shuddhi? Agama Margena. I told you, Agama is another term for what? Tantras. Agama Margena Shuddhi. For them, purification also is through which path? Veda or Tantra? Tantra. Even for the Brahmanas. Prabhu, kindly read the translation. Hari Bhakti Vilas 5.5.
Mostly the Brahmanas born in the age of Kali are impure and similar to Shudras. Their purification is mainly through the path of Agamas, Pancharatra, etc. and not through the path of Vedas.
Na Shrauta Vartmana, not through Shruti, but through the path of the Agamas. So dear devotees, do the Brahmanas have advantage by birth in the age of Kali? So all of us are on the same page today. We need one literature for our deliverance. Which literature is that? Tantra. Tantra is needed for our deliverance. Therefore, I will give you names of Tantras which you might have heard. Because Tantras are in 3 modes. Modes of goodness, mode of ignorance, mode of passion. Alright, first and foremost, I will give you names of tantras which are Vaishnav tantras. Please hear these names. Satvata Tantra. Have you heard the term Satvata Tantra? No. Alright, another Narad Pancharatra. Have you heard Narad Pancharatra? These are tantras in the mode of what? Goodness. There are tantras in other modes, but I will not go in that direction. Many of us might be knowing. There are tantras in other modes also, but we Vaishnavas follow Vaishnav tantras, and these Vaishnav tantras tell us how to practically live our day-to-day life and transcend this material world. So great gift has been given to us because of tantra literature, and most tantra literatures are spoken by one personality. Who is that personality? Bhagavan Shiva. He spoke most of the tantras. Dear devotees, now I am coming to the concluding part of the seminar. Hear carefully. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavan is speaking. In the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a discussion between Navayogendras and Maharaj Nimi. There is a very important discussion in that. Now I am going to point that out, dear devotees. This is from 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. One of the Navayogendras, Shri Karbhajan Muni, says, please repeat after me. Shri Karbhajan Uvacha Kritam Treta Dvaparam Cha Kalir Ityeshu Keshavaha Nana Varna Bhidhakaro Nanaiva Vidhinejyate. Alright, very important, Prabhu. Kindly read what Karbhajan Muni is saying.
Sri Karbhajana Muni said, in each of the four yugas, Krita, Treta, Dwapara and Kali, Lord Keshava appears with various complexions, names and forms, and is thus worshipped by various processes.
Is worshipped by what? Various processes. Very important, I want to highlight this. Dear devotees, now we should see what are the various processes for various ages. What are the methods for various ages? Karbhajan Muni continues. Please repeat after me. Yajanti tapasa devam. This is Satya Yoga, the first original Yoga. So dear devotees, how did you worship the Supreme Lord in Satya Yoga? So Prabhu, kindly read the translation.
In Satya Yuga, the Lord is worshipped simply by performing austerities.
Simply by performing what? Austerities. Austerities means tapasya, ashtanga yoga, and you meditate on the original Vedic syllable. Only one syllable from the Vedas is needed in that. What is the original Vedic syllable? Alright. Dear devotees, actually most people who are not initiated in the Vedas are not eligible to even utter Om. Therefore, there is a name for that, Pranav. What is it called as? Pranav. So instead of directly uttering it, what should we say? Pranav. So originally in the Satya Yuga, which syllable is used to worship the Supreme Lord? Pranav. Pranav is used for worshipping the Supreme Lord. Do you need the Vedas in that age? Because you have the origin of all the Vedas. What is the origin of all the Vedas? One syllable, Pranav. Now, dear devotees, we come to the second Yuga. Which is the second Yuga? Treta. Please repeat after me. Yajanti Vidyaya Traya. Prabhu, kindly read for Treta Yuga.
In Treta Yuga, the Lord is worshipped exclusively by knowledge given in the Vedas.
Which literature, dear devotees? Vedas. In Treta Yuga, it was possible to worship Bhagavan through which path? Vedas. Can somebody tell me what is the process of perfection in Treta Yuga? Yagyas. And Yagya is performed by which literature? Vedas. You cannot have Yagyas without Vedas. So, in Treta Yuga, the main literature for attaining perfection was what, dear devotees? Vedas. After Treta Yuga comes which Yuga, dear devotees? Dwapar. Hear about Dwapar Yuga. Yajanti Vedas Tantrabhyam. Prabhu, kindly read the translation.
In Dwapar Yuga, the Lord is worshipped through directions shown by the Vedas as well as Tantras.
Oh, wonderful. Now a new literature is introduced in Dwapar Yuga. Which literature is that? Tantras. Because in Dwapar Yuga, which is the process for perfection? Anybody knows? Deity worship. And deity worship requires you to know some Veda. Because when you are worshipping the Lord, you are doing Purusha Sukta. So Purusha Sukta comes from which literature? Vedas. But you also need to know practicalities, how many times to show the lamp, how many times to show the incense. So the practical details come from which literature? Tantras. So I hope you are able to understand. In Dwapar Yuga, you need a combination of two literatures. What are the two literatures? Vedas and Tantras. And now, dear devotees, comes the final age. Which age is that, dear devotees? Kali Yuga. Please repeat after me. Nana Tantra Vidhanena Kalavapi Tatha Shrinu.
In Kali Yuga too, the Lord is worshipped exclusively by following the directions of the Tantras.
Wow. Nana Tantra Vidhanena Kalavapi Tatha Shrinu. Commenting on this verse 11.531, the original Sanskrit commentator Srila Sridhar Swami says something. Please repeat the words of Srila Sridhar Swami on this verse. Please repeat. Nana Tantra Vidhane Neti Kalau Tantra Margasya Pradhanyam Darshayati. Prabhu, kindly read what Sridhar Swami says.
The prominence of the path of Tantras in the age of Kali is shown in this verse through the phrase Nana Tantra Vidhanena.
So in this age, dear devotees, which literature is the most prominent? Tantra. Nana Tantra Vidhanena. Acha, what is the verse number, Prabhu? What is the verse number? 11.531. Alright? I will go to the Bhagavatam and I will pull out this verse 11.531. Here it is. Dear devotees, please repeat. Iti dvapara urvisha stuvanti jagadishwaram nana tantra vidhanena kalavapi tatha shrunu. Here, how Bhagavan should be worshipped in Kali Yuga? Through Nana Tantra, through the various Tantras. Immediate next verse, some of you might recognize the immediate next verse, dear devotees. Alright. Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam Yagyai Sankirtana Prayai Yajanti hi sumedhasa. Many of you might have recognized this verse. This verse occurs just after that verse which says that in Kali Yuga Bhagavan is to be worshipped using the path of the Tantras. Why? Because 99.9% have become ineligible for which path? Vedas. 100% have become ineligible. Even those who are born as Brahmanas, we saw, are mostly impure and can be compared to Shudras. They say we are Brahman by birth, they say Dvivedi, Trivedi, Chaturvedi, like that. But then they will go to a superstore and then they may work an ordinary job. I hope you are able to understand, Then you have to why did you not go to Gurukul and study under a guru and Rig Ved, Samved? Oh well, I don't feel that it is relevant to me. So welcome to Kali Yuga, dear devotees. Nana Tantra Vidhanena Kalavapi Tatha Shrunu. It's very important. So we saw what Sridhar Swami says in this regard. Therefore, dear devotees, it is very important to understand in Kali Yuga, one path is going to work. Which path is that? Tantra. And there is one very important literature to help the devotees in Kali Yuga, that is Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam along with the Tantras, very powerful combination. Srimad Bhagavatam, Narad Pancharatra and the Vaishnav Tantras. Very powerful combination for worshipping Bhagavan. How many of us know Rig Veda? Nahi. Samveda? Nahi. Yajurveda? Nahi. Atharveda? Nahi. Srimad Bhagavatam, how many of us have studied? Please raise your hand. Wonderful. Arey, wow. So, it is very important to understand that Srimad Bhagavatam and the Tantras are the way in Kali Yuga. Dear devotees, does anybody know the first known person from the Western world who has become a Vaishnava? Can anybody tell me the first known European who took to Vaishnavism? Nahi? Do you want to know, dear devotees? Huh? Yes. In history, because we might think when ISKCON started, the first European took to Vaishnavism. But this may not be the case. Dear devotees, I would like to tell you about a very interesting pillar in India. Dear devotees, this pillar, can you see this pillar? This pillar is present in Madhya Pradesh today in India. This pillar is called as Heliodorus pillar. Alright? This pillar was discovered about 100 or 200 years ago, rediscovered. And it was, the Indians were worshipping this pillar, and they had put a lot of sindoor. You know what is sindoor? Red powder on it. So the archaeologists came and cleaned up the sindoor. And underneath that, they found that there was something written. Dear devotees, what was written on this Heliodorus pillar? Please repeat after me. Deva Devasya Vasudevasya Garuda Dhvajo Ayam Karito Heliodorena Bhagavatena Diyasaputrena. Prabhu, this pillar originally belonged to 113 BC, 113 years before Christ, dear devotees. And please read what this pillar inscription says.
This Garuda pillar was erected by Heliodorus, the son of Dias, and the god of all gods, Bhagavan Vasudeva.
For the god of all gods, Bhagavan Vasudeva. Heliodorena, and there is an adjective I should have included in the translation. Bhagavatena. Heliodorus was a follower of which religion? Bhagavat. In 113 BC, dear devotees, is the first known. Before that, we don't know how many unknown were there, but the first known praman of a person being allowed, being initiated and being called a Bhagavat. The first known praman is of Heliodorus. This pillar is still found in Vidisha in Madhya Pradesh today. You will find this even today in Madhya Pradesh. And he was Bhagavat Heliodorus, dear devotee, his name, Bhagavat Heliodorus. Of course, if he would come to ISKCON, we would give him a new name. Dear devotee. So, this is the original, the first known Westerner to have taken to Vaishnavism, 113 BC. And dear devotees, this was possible because of which marg? Veda marg or Tantra marg? Tantra marg. Because Vedas will not allow, by birth he is ineligible. But Tantras will say, by birth everybody is eligible. Welcome to Bhagavat Dharma. And it is only possible in Kali Yuga due to Tantra marg. And therefore, Srila Sridhar Swami says, this is the prominence of the path of Tantras in this age of Kali. Of course, Naam is from Tantra. Isn't it? So very important that all the mantras that we got, Om Apavitraha Pavitro Va Sarvavasthan Gatopi Va Yasmaret Pundari Kaksham Sabhaya Bhentra Shuchi Gange Cha Yamune Chaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmade Sindhu Kaveri Jalesmin Sannidhi. These mantras are from Vedas or from Tantras? Pancharatra literature. Vedic mantras have swaras, pitches, high and low pitches. They have those markings. But these mantras for worshipping Bhagavan, they are not from the Vedas. They are from which literature? Tantras. So which literature benefited us the most in this age? Vedas or Tantras? Tantras. This is the importance of Tantra marg. So I explained to you, dear devotees, Veda marg and Tantra marg. Please always remember that in Satya Yuga, you needed neither Veda marg nor Tantra marg, because worship of one syllable was enough. Which syllable is that, dear devotees? Pranav. In Treta Yuga, Yagyas became prominent. So you needed which marg? Veda. In Dwapar Yuga, deity worship. So you needed a combination of which path? Veda and Tantra. And in Kali Yuga, almost 100% of the people have become ineligible for Vedas. So only one path remains prominently. Which path? Tantra Marg. So this is very important to understand. Alright? So I'll pause my speech here, dear devotees. Yadatra skalitam kinchid vidvam sah purayantu tat. Yadatra saushthavam kinchit tad guroreva me nahi. Yadatra skalitam kinchit. If there are any mistakes in what I spoke, vidvam sah. You are all learned devotees. Purayantu tat. Please correct any mistakes. But yadatra saushthavam kinchit. If there is anything nice, please remember tad guroreva. It belongs to my Gurujanas. Me nahi. It doesn't belong to me. Thank you very much, dear devotees. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Alright. So, do we have time for Q&A, Prabhu, or should we pause? Huh? Okay, we can take Q&A. Okay. Somebody, there are many questions. So, we'll go to Prabhu, then we'll go to Mataji, and then we'll come to you, Prabhu. Okay? Mic is there.
Okay, Hare Krishna. I just want.
Okay.
So, Vedas are from Bhagavan. Our Tantras looks like not from Bhagavan, but devotees, like Narada.
No. Tantra is also from Bhagavan Shiva.
Still a devotee from a devotee point.
He's technically, Bhagavan Shiva is considered as non-different from Bhagavan Vishnu in many ways. Shivasya Shri Vishnu Yaiha Guna Nama Disakalam. The second Nama Prad is to consider Bhagavan Shiva as completely different from Vishnu, or to consider him completely one with Vishnu. He has simultaneous difference and non-difference with Vishnu. Bhed. Okay. But Bhagavan Shiva, is he more Jiva Tattva or is he more Vishnu Tattva? Who is he more? Vishnu Tattva, obviously. So therefore, it has come originally from Bhagavan Shiva.
So including the Narada, Pancharatri, everything from Lord Shiva.
Mainly from Bhagavan Shiva.
So but the next verse after this says, in Kali Yuga, a couple of verses, it's only Hari Sankirtana. Is Sankirtana comes under Tantra or just beyond all these things?
Sankirtan, the Maha Mantra, it came from which literature?
Kali Santana.
Kali Santana Upanishad has Hare Ram first.
Hare Ram,
Where did Hare Krishna come from? Wonderful. The Hare Krishna mantra came from the Tantra, Satvat Tantra, Sri Radha Tantra. Okay? So, I would like to show you this. Here it is. This is Sri Radha Tantram. Okay, in the Shruti, Veda, how do you find the mantra? Hare Ram first, alright? And where does Hare Krishna come first? So this is a published edition of Radha Tantram. It was not published by Gaudiya Vaishnavas or, ISKCON or no, it was published by Sampurnanand Sanskrit Vishwavidyalaya in Kashi, Varanasi. In this Radha Tantram, you can find something here, Prabhu. Can you see what is given? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So the mantra was originally taken from Vedas or from Tantra? Tantra. Because many times it is said Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took the Veda mantra and reversed it so that everybody could have access. But this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not in favor of changing even one word of the Bhagavatam. There's an incident where, Sri Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya says, we will change one term in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, don't change even a single syllable. Why will that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reverse an entire Vedic mantra? Actually, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took the Maha Mantra from the Tantras. So this mantra is found in Sri Radha Tantram, Sri Satvat Tantra. So many places it is found. So, Tantra were spoken by whom? So, I told you everything falls in place. So, originally, the Tantras are spoken by one Bhagavan. Who is that Bhagavan? Shiva. Of course. Of course. Yeah. Bhagavan Shiva will speak neutrally for everybody. I say, he is not like that. Bhagavan Shiva will not say, I am a Shaiva. Bhagavan Shiva will say, I am for everybody. Isn't it? So it's very important. Therefore, the Srimad Bhagavatam also glorifies Bhagavan Shiva's name. Have you heard the glories of Bhagavan Shiva's name? No? They are devotees. In the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, all right, 4:14. Please repeat after me. Please read the translation, Prabhu. You have the mic? Prabhu, please read the translation. Yeah.
Sati continued, My dear father, you are committing the greatest offense by envying Lord Shiva, whose very name, consisting of 2 syllables, Si and Va, purifies one of all sinful activities.
This, they are devotees.
Purify.
In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned.
His order is never neglected. Lord Shiva is always pure, and no one but you envies him.
So please tell me, can Bhagavan Shiva's name destroy all sinful reactions? Yes. Of course. Auspicious. It is here. Purifies one of all sinful activities. Here it is. In the original Sanskrit also it is given. Agham ashu hanti. Agham. Agham means pap. Hanti, it destroys all the sins. So dear devotees, Bhagavatam glorifies Bhagavan Shiva, and Shiva in the Tantras glorifies Bhagavan Vasudeva. See the wonderful relationship, isn't it? So it's very important that this is the culture of Vedas and Tantras. So I hope that satisfies your query, Prabhuji. All right? Okay. Prabhu, you had one question? Oh, acha. Let's. Okay, we'll come to you, Prabhuji. Okay, yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the lecture. You said when from the breathing of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all the Vedas and all of these have come at the beginning of creation.
Yeah.
All the Puranas and Itihasas also. So that means Ramayana and Mahabharata were also, they also came at that point?
Of course.
From the previous creation?
Of course.
Okay.
In the Valmiki Ramayana, there is something mentioned in the beginning, that Sri Valmiki Rishi had gone to the bank of a river, and suddenly he saw a very ghastly scene on the bank of the river. And do you know, Mataji, what ghastly scene he saw? There was a pair of crauncha birds. Crauncha means cranes or herons. And there was one hunter, Nishad. He shot an arrow and killed one of them. But for the birds, it was mating season. And during their private time, he killed one of the birds. And suddenly, from the mouth of Valmiki Muni, Ma nishada pratishtatvam agama shashvati sama yat krauncha mithunadekam avadhi kama mohitam. This suddenly came out. And he gave a curse. Ma nishada pratishtatvam agama shashvati sama. O Nishad, you will never have any peace in the long years to come. Yad kama mohitam, that because you killed one of the 2 birds who were in the mood of mating with each other. So, after he gave that curse, that Nishad, that hunter, went away. Valmiki Muni came back to his ashram, and Valmiki Muni was a little distressed. I should not have cursed a person like this. So then, suddenly, at that point of time, Shri Brahma came to him and said, your verse will achieve 2 purposes. It is the first verse in the Anushtup meter in human history. It is the first shloka. Previously, Anushtup was present only in the planet of Bhagavan Brahma. Now this will become the first shloka in Anushtup meter in human history. Therefore, Valmiki, you will become Adi Kavi. In the universe, Brahmaji is Adi Kavi. But in human civilization, who will become Adi Kavi? Valmiki Rishi. And second, what you spoke, Sri Valmiki, can you repeat? Ma nishada pratishtatvam. Ma also refers to Lakshmi Devi. Alright? Ma nishada. Oh, Lord of Lakshmi. He is referring to Bhagavan Ram. Pratishtatvam agamaha. May you achieve prosperity for unlimited years to come. Yat krauncha mithunadekam avadhihi. Krauncha also means demon. Because in the demon couple, Ravan and Mandodari, you killed one of them. Who was that? Ravan. Kama mohitam, because he was overcome by lust. Oh, Valmiki Rishi, I made you speak that verse. Isn't it? Now, I will give you the inspiration. You compose the history of Bhagavan Ram, Ramayana. So it originally was given by whom? Bhagavan Brahma. And who gave it to Bhagavan Brahma? It came from the breathing of Bhagavan at the beginning of creation. So, I hope everything falls in place now, isn't it? It's for Itihas. Alright, Mataji? Thank you. Okay, Prabhu, now your chance.
Prabhuji, just ending the question there, just for my clarity. So it's correct to say that the Hare Krishna Mahamantra first uttered by Lord Shiva, but prescribed and maybe popularized by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Is this a true statement?
Hare Krishna Mahamantra originally came from the Tantras given by Bhagavan Shiva.
Uttered by, so I can say.
But it was popularized in the age of Kali by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam said, in Kali Yuga you have to worship Bhagavan through which literature, Vedas or Tantras? Does Mahaprabhu know this fact or not know this fact? He knows. So Mahaprabhu will select Mahamantra from Kali Santarana Upanishad or from the Tantras?
Good to know. And then also Bhagavatam literature, do you consider part of the Tantra?
Or Veda? Bhagavat is part of, Bhagavatam is fifth Veda.
Fifth Veda.
Okay? But the fifth Veda is written similar to Tantras. 4 Vedas are inaccessible.
Yeah.
Okay? 1:420. Please repeat after me. Rigyajhu samatharvakya Vedas Chatvara Udrita. So originally how many Vedas are there? 4. Rig, Sam, Yajur, Atharva. Are these accessible to humanity today? No. So Sri Vyasadeva wrote a Veda which is accessible to humanity. Itihasa Puranam cha Panchamo Veda Uchyate. So Sri Vyasadeva did something parallel to what Bhagavan Shiva did. He wrote a Veda which is like Tantra. It is accessible to 100% of the humanity. Alright? So this is the translation. Please read the translation.
The 4 divisions of the original source of knowledge, the Vedas, were made separately.
The original source of knowledge are 4 Vedas. Alright. But
the historical facts and authentic stories mentioned in the Puranas are called the 5th Veda.
So this 5th Veda, which Vyasadeva called Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam, etc., is accessible to entire humanity. But the original 4 Vedas are not.
And so Bhagavad Gita is the summary of the Vedas. So can we consider
You have to understand, in which literature does Bhagavad Gita, is Bhagavad Gita written? Inside which literature? Mahabharata, na? Mahabharata is what? Itihas.
5th Veda.
Pancham Veda. Again.
Okay, it's accessible.
Right. So, this is the answer. Yes, Prabhu. We'll go to Prabhu. Yes. And then we'll come to you. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I think your lecture is always amazing and we get different dimensions of knowledge. I think Tantras, I think this is the first time I'm hearing so much, but at the same time I'm getting a lot of confusion. Like why we, if the Tantras are so important, why in Hare Krishna mission, we don't want to worship Shiva? Because usually whenever we say we need to worship only Krishna, and if whenever we talk about Shiva, always say that, please worship Krishna and Radha and Krishna, that's enough. Shiva is not required. That's what usually we hear like that.
Okay. So why do we not worship Bhagavan Shiva? If there is so much importance of Bhagavan Shiva. Actually, we do worship Bhagavan Shiva. There is not that we don't worship Bhagavan Shiva. We do worship Bhagavan Shiva. If you go to Vrindavan, you have Gopeshwar Mahadev in Sri Vrindavan. And there is a prayer for Gopeshwar Mahadev, prayer for Bhagavan Shiva, given by our previous acharyas. I will show you the prayer for worshipping Shiva given by our previous acharyas. In Sankalpa Kalpadruma, which is given on the screen here, I will let's share the screen. In Sankalpa Kalpadruma, Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives a prayer for Bhagavan Shiva. Please repeat after me. Vrindavana vanipate jaya soma soma. Pate jaya soma soma. Maule sanandana sanatana naradedya. Maule sanandana sanatana Gopishwara vraja vilasi yugangri padme. Vritim prayacha nitaram nirupadhikam me. So, Bhagavan Shiva is worshipped by so many prayers given by our acharyas. Okay. Now, I will show you another prayer for worshipping Bhagavan. Would you like to see another prayer for worshipping Bhagavan? Yeah, wonderful. Huh? So, I will show you another prayer for worshipping Bhagavan Shiva. If you see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he went to Bhuvaneshwar, he went to Lingaraj. In Lingaraj, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu offered this prayer. See here, who is the Sri Shivashtakam. It is originally uttered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he went to Bhuvaneshwar. Please repeat after me. Namo namaste tridasheshwaraya bhutadinathaya mridaya nityam Ganga tarango thita bala chandra Chudaya gauri nayanotsavaya. So Prabhu, you read there are 8 verses total by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prabhu, you kindly read the translation of the first verse, Prabhu.
I perpetually offer obeisances unto you, the Lord of the 30 primal Devas, or the original Father of created beings, whose character is gracious, upon whose head, which is crested by the sickle moon, the Ganga springs, and who are a festival for the eyes of Gauri, the fair goddesses.
Whose worship is this? And who is worshipping?
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
So then how can you say that in Hare Krishna movement we don't worship Bhagavan Shiva? Whenever you see a mandir of Bhagavan Shiva, we should go inside and we should offer the prayer given by Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Because Sri Bhagavan Shiva is known as Kshetrapal. He is the protector of the abode of Bhagavan Vishnu. And we should offer obeisances to him and take permission from him to visit Sri Vrindavan. So many Vaishnavas, they first go to Gopeshwar Mahadev, they first pray to Bhagavan Shiva so that he can give us entry into the abode of Sri Vrindavan. It's very clear. Okay. So though somebody might have told you don't worship, but they might not have read their own tradition properly. I say. Okay?
Yeah, and one more follow-up question. Tantras, why it is not much explained in Bhagavad Gita? Because I am not having much
No, the Bhagavad Gita is just a summary of the various systems of yoga. Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. In all systems of yoga, you have tantras. You have Yoga Tantras, Ashtanga Yoga Tantras, Jnana Yoga Tantras, Bhakti Yoga Tantras. So, when you go to the specific Guru Parampara of that yoga, then they will tell you which tantras you have to refer to. That's all.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you. All right. Yes, Mataji.
Yes, so Prabhu, my question is, you mentioned that we are not even having a adhikar of saying Om and we should use the pranava. Now, we do chant Om, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya before the class, and in Chaitanya Charitamrita it says by chanting pranava we can go back to Godhead. And to Ramanujacharya, which is also in Kali Yuga, he was given the mantra Om Namo Narayanaya. So how to understand that?
All right. Those who know Sri Ramanujacharya's history, they know that Sri Ramanujacharya was given the mantra by his guru with one condition. What was the condition?
To anybody.
Why did the guru give the condition?
Because no one is qualified to
Wonderful.
say.
Sri Ramanujacharya, did he follow the condition or break the condition? Broke the condition. And his guru told him something after that. You know? Does anybody know what his guru said after that? For disobeying my order and for giving pranav, it is possible that you may face a severe negative reaction. And what did Sri Ramanujacharya say? But if other people are helped, so I am going to do it. Isn't it? We know that this history, I think, is known to all of us. But what his guru had said is what Sri Vyasadeva had said in the Bhagavatam. That pranav is not meant for most people in Kali Yuga. Now your question is, when we say Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, why do we say that, Mataji? Please tell me. The reason I will tell you is because it is mentioned in the very first verse of the second canto. This is when Shukadeva Goswami starts speaking. Okay? Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This is the first verse of which canto? Second canto. And why do we repeat this one? Because this is the spot from which who starts speaking? Shukadeva Goswami. Previous to this, there is not a single statement of Sri Shukadeva Goswami in the first canto. This is the first statement of Sri Shukadeva Goswami. Alright? And also, in the very beginning of the first canto, the first chapter, the first verse, also something is mentioned. What is mentioned? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So how many times do we have? 2. But Vedic literature says you should not have even number, you should have which number? Odd number. So dear devotees, for the third time we say Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. How did you end up speaking Om at this point of time? Traditionally, you are supposed to not utter it. If you go to any traditionally, if you go to any speaker of Bhagavatam, they will not make you repeat this. But maybe in our society, we are a little liberal. I hope you are able to understand. In our society, we are a little liberal in this regard. Traditional standards will say you simply have to hear the Purana. You should not recite the Purana. Traditionally, you are allowed to hear it. You are not allowed to recite it. Right? You may ask why, isn't it? Why? Because only a person who can explain the original words is allowed to recite it. Isn't it? Now, please tell me, how many of us can explain the first verse of the Bhagavatam? How many know the first verse of the Bhagavatam? Janmadyasya yatonvayaditaratas चार्थेष्वभिज्ञ स्वराट तेने ब्रह्म हृदय आदि कवये मुह्यन्ति यत् सूरया तेजो वारि मृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परम धीमहि. Acha, dear devotees, somebody explain the first verse from the original Sanskrit. Here it is in front of you. Bolo? You have to explain the full verse on dear devotees. No, I want to utter, but I cannot explain. I hope you are able to understand. This is the condition of most individuals. Then the Vedas say, why utter as? Better hear it. Janma adi asya. Asya, of this material world. Janma adi, creation, maintenance, destruction. Yataha, happens from one person. Anvayad itaratas cha artheshu. And this same person is present in Anvaya, this same person is present in this world, and this same person is also separate from this world. How is he present in this world? Just as gold is present in a gold ornament. How is he separate from this world? He is separate from this world exactly as a drop of water is separate from the lotus leaf. Abhigyaha, he is all-knowing. Swarat, he is completely independent. Tene, he expanded. Brahma, what is Brahma, dear devotees? That is Brahma. Brahma. Vedas, he expanded the Vedas. Hrida, through the heart of whom? Adi Kavaye. Through his heart, he expanded it and gave it to Adi Kavi. Who is the Adi Kavi of the universe? Brahma. Muhyanti yat surayah. And due to him, even the great devatas are placed into illusion. Tejo vari mridam yatha vinimayo yatra trisargo mrisha. Yatra, because of him, trisarga, the three modes of nature, which are like tejo vari mridam, which are like water seen in a desert, or which are like fire seen in a mirror. They appear real, but ultimately they are unreal. Who is this person? Dhamna, with his energy, Svena, Sada Nirasta Kuhakam, he has always defeated Maya. He is Satyam Param, he is the highest truth. Dhimahi, we meditate on that highest truth. And who is that highest truth? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. That highest truth is Bhagavan Vasudev, represented in the Satya Yuga by one syllable. Which syllable? The seed of Srimad Bhagavatam is here. This is the seed from which the tree has come. What is the seed of Srimad Bhagavatam? Pranav. From Pranav, the entire tree has come. And a tree has these roots going down into the soil. You know what these roots are known as in Sanskrit? The roots are called as skandha. So the tree has 12 skandhas. I hope you are able to understand. Srimad Bhagavatam has how many skandhas? 12. The 12 roots going down into the ground. And the Srimad Bhagavatam has 335 branches and 18,000 leaves. And this is how the Srimad Bhagavatam has been given its name. The 335 branches are the 335 chapters. 18,000 leaves are the 18,000 verses. So that is why you may recite Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Traditionally, it is meant for hearing, not for reciting, even if it comes in the Puranas. Because the traditional viewpoint is that you should not recite something which you cannot explain. That is what is specified there. Right? So Pranav can take you back to Godhead by chanting, but was he saying for everyone or was he saying for those who are initiated into Pranav? isn't it? You only get initiated into pranav when you receive which initiation? Not even first. You get which initiation? Second. When you get second initiation, the first mantra that you are given contains that seed, pranav. And that is when you get the adhikar, the eligibility to worship Bhagavan through pranav. That pranav also has a meaning. What is the meaning of pranav? Well, is it just a syllable? I'd like to share the screen if possible. Let's keep it on the screen. Is it just a syllable, pranav? A meaningless syllable. So let's see the meaning of pranav. All right. Akarenochyate Vishnu Shrirukarena Kathyate Makarastu Tayordasah Panchavimshah Prakirtitah. This is in the purport to Srimad Bhagavatam 10:69-17. Originally it is given by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Akarena, the syllable a, uchyate, denotes one person. Whom does the syllable a denote? Vishnu. In the Gita, Bhagavan says, Aksharanam akarosmi. In all the syllables, I am which syllable? A. In the English, we sometimes read a, but it is not a, dear devotees. I am which syllable? A. Shrir ukarena uchyate. U represents Shri. Shri is whom? Lakshmi. In our case, Akar represents Krishna. U represents Shri Radha. Makaras and the Ma, Tayordasa, is the servant of both of them. Panchavimshaha, the 25th principle of Sankhya philosophy, the Jiva, is Makar, who is a servant of both of them. This is represented in the pranav, because a pranav is a combination of three syllables. What are the three syllables? Not a. No. A, U, Ma. Not A-U-M. That is not pranav. Alright? Pranav is Akar, Ukar, Makar. So Akar, Ukar, Makar. Varnatkaraha. Panini says after every syllable you can add the term kar. Okay? Akar, Ukar, Makar. So these are not English syllables. A-U-M. These are Sanskrit syllables. Akar, Ukar, Makar. This is what it is. So even when you utter pranav, pranav has a meaning attached to it. Right? So this is the answer. Okay. So we'll pause here. Alright? I think it's time to pause. Good time to pause. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.